Hey, it's Mo Egger. The big question this football season, where are you going to watch all the big games? I've got the answer. Long Neck Sports Grill, 3 locations in northern Kentucky, Wilder, Hebron, and Richwood, each of them very easy to get to. The TV setup is unmatched, 4K TVs all over the place, and the sound is on for all the big games. You can't top the menu. I love the wings, and no place has a better beer selection. That's most important. Long Neck Sports Grill, perfect for football season. Stay late, come often. OrthoCincy Mo Egger show on ESPN 1530. We do this every single week. It's been a great addition to this show. We chat with one of the doctors from OrthoCincy, which, by the way, locations all throughout Cincinnati and northern Kentucky. You never need an appointment at OrthoCincy. They've got evening hours at some locations. They've got Saturday hours at some locations. Check out OrthoCincy.com. That's OrthoCincy.com. Dr. Trevor Wilkes is with us. Let me start with Trey Hendrickson, who suffered a stinger, reportedly, on Sunday in the game against Atlanta. I don't think I've ever had a stinger, so tell me, what is a stinger?
Yeah, good question, Mo. So stingers are actually a really common football injury. Stingers happen essentially when nerves get stretched or compressed. So everybody kind of knows that nerves are these little electrical cables that carry electricity, and as they leave your neck and start to go down your arm, often when a guy's tackling, if his neck gets bent the wrong way, these nerves get stretched or compressed, and it can really hurt. It's often this burning, like hot fire kind of feeling through the arm and hand. They can be really distressing when they happen, but they're pretty common.
What's the difference between a stinger and a neck injury that's maybe a little bit more severe?
Yeah, good question. So most of the stingers, so for example, a lot of us at OrthoCincy will take care of high schools or small colleges around here and see these reasonably commonly at games, and they last just a minute or two. Most of the time, that athlete regains normal feeling, full strength within a few minutes, and so might have to be out for a series or a quarter. A more serious situation would be if those neurologic symptoms last longer. So maybe the athlete still didn't have good feeling or didn't get their strength back. That would be a more serious situation.
Dr. Wilkes, what's the treatment for a stinger, and could this sort of injury lead to something more chronic, more severe, like you just talked about?
Yeah, good question. So in the short run, we will often try to let the stinger resolve, make sure that the athlete's symptoms get better, they get all their movement and strength back. There are definitely situations, like in the NFL, where players have been in football for a long time. Well, they'll need to get an X-ray of their neck and make sure that the growth and development and essentially the space for the nerves is normal. There are some guys in the NFL for which stingers can become a recurrent problem. They often have a really narrow space for those nerves, and that can be a more serious problem that they need to see a neck specialist for.
Dr. Trevor Wilkes is with us. OrthoCincy, OrthoCincy.com is the website. Let's talk about Jamar Chase. He played great. He showed up on the injury report last week with a hip issue. He did come out of the game very briefly, limped off the field. From your standpoint, what sort of things come to mind when you see a player that has a hip issue? And given the nature of his job, given the nature of this sport, he's going to be running, he's going to be pivoting and twisting, he's obviously going to be taking hits. Is this the sort of thing that we could expect to maybe show up all season?
Oh, gosh, Mo, I hope not. He has been playing great. So it's my understanding that Jamar's suffering a strain of his hip flexor, which are these really explosive muscles in the front of your hip that you use with sprinting and stop-start activities. And so, hip flexor strains can be a really widely variable range of injury. Crossing our fingers that his injury is a low-grade or minor injury. It is really important that they get treated correctly, allowed to heal, therapy, and resolve, or sometimes it can become a recurrent injury that'll continue to bother you over the course of your career. So it is important that he gets it treated right, and it might sometimes take missing a week or two to make sure you can make it through the rest of the season.
Let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's talk about a shoulder injury that I saw this week. Matt Ryan of the Colts, they've benched him, performance related, but he does have a grade 2 shoulder separation. Tell me what the various grades mean.
Yeah, good question. So a separated shoulder is an injury to the ligaments that adjoin your collarbone to your shoulder blade. It's a really common injury in all of football, and particularly to quarterbacks. Specifically to your question, Mo, the grades go 1 to 6. It's an old classification system. Essentially, lower grades are better or less injury to the ligaments than the really severe types. And so most of the time for a low-grade sprain like this, a grade 2, the quarterback may need to be out for 2 to 4 weeks. But it's harder for quarterbacks because of the way they have, if it's their dominant arm, the way they have to work overhead, they're really dependent upon that acromioclavicular joint for the stability of their shoulder.
What am I looking at when I see a guy, and I've actually seen this happen with people I've played softball with. What's happening with somebody's shoulder when they just simply pop it into place?
Yeah, good. That's a good point. So you're kind of in my wheelhouse here as a shoulder specialist. But so there's often a mistake between a dislocated shoulder and a separated shoulder. So a dislocated shoulder is when the ball actually slides out of the socket. You often see the athlete, hold their arm at their side, and there's kind of a deformity there. And unfortunately, some guys, and I hope this wasn't your softball buddies, but they actually know how to kind of pop it right back into place. Definitely, if that happens a lot, something you need to see a specialist about. A separated shoulder often also has kind of a deformity, Mo. So what happens when you tear those ligaments between the collarbone and the shoulder blade, the weight of the arm pulls the shoulder blade down, the muscles pull the collarbone up, and in the gym, you'll often see guys who have kind of this big bump right up there, and they might have had a separated shoulder in the past. So kind of important to note they're sort of two different things.
Very good. I think when people hear one, they assume the other, and that's, I think, a kind of a common mistake. Doctor, I appreciate the time this afternoon. Thanks so much.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Have a great day.
Hey, it's Mo Egger. If you and your buddies are looking for a place to post up this football season, how about Long Neck Sports Grill? 3 locations in northern Kentucky, all of them very easy to get to. You got Wilder, Hebron, and Richwood. There's 4K TVs all over the place. And this is important, the sound's going to be on for all the big games. The menu is fantastic. I love the wings, and no place has a better beer selection. Long Neck Sports Grill, perfect for football season. Stay late, come often.